Acknowledge that not only the victims who were actually hit by gunfire, but there are a lot more people who are going to be forever impacted by what happened here today. You know, as people were running, you know, a lot of us law enforcement who are running towards the danger also guided those who were in fear of their lives, and that's something to be said of how impactful today's event truly was. Again, we have confirmed there is one deceased person. Our gunshot wound total has went up to 22, and Chief Grundison will provide a little bit more context to that. Right now, we're still working on a total of number of victims. This is still an active investigation. I do want to comment on the question that I got earlier about a video of some fans tackling someone. We do have 3 persons detained and under investigation for today's incident. We are working to determine if one of the 3 are the one that was in that video where fans assisted police. Our investigators are working with all of the surviving victims to connect them with loved ones. We are also working to identify our deceased victim so we can notify their family as soon as possible. We are also in the process of staffing a centralized phone number. This centralized phone number will be for those who are victims, witnesses, and if anyone has video or any information about what led up to what happened here today. Again, we are continuously receiving information minute by minute, which is a part of the delay of us coming down here. But I do want to pass this on to Chief Grundison to give a little bit more context to some of the status of our victims.
Just want to say that all of KCFD's thoughts and prayers are with those families that were affected by this tragedy today. And while we were not expecting it, we were ready and prepared for an event such like this. Our KCFD units, along with our mutual aid partners that were working to assist us at this event, touched a total of 22 gunshot victims. One of those was a fatality. We had 8 what we considered immediately life-threatening patients. We had 7 with life-threatening injuries, and we had 6 that had minor injuries. Of the most serious, the immediately life-threatening injuries, we had 8 of those. Those were all transported and off the scene and route to hospitals within 10 minutes. So we felt the response was certainly adequate and appropriate, and I commend all our staff working there today, along with PD, that did an excellent job under difficult circumstances. We transported 3 different hospitals. We transported Children's Mercy, Truman Medical, and also St. Luke's on the Plaza.
Questions?
Yeah, so we're getting...
Who are you asking?
Anyone that can answer the question. So we've heard people talking about gunshots that they've heard near the west side of Union Station, and then also gunfire and situations that happened near the fountain and the stoplight over there near the intersection. Was there 2 separate scenes? Was there one big scene? Do you know the answer to that question?
That is still an active scene. That is a large ground to cover, as you know, the size of the Union Station. I will tell you, we have located that crime scene on the west side of Union Station. As far as in the front of, that is still under investigation. We have crime scene investigators as well as the detectives. We had a lot of our assault squad detectives and our homicide detectives that were actually in uniform today working the assignment. So not only did you have uniformed presence immediately responding to the scene, rendering aid, going towards danger, but you also had detectives that were immediately on the scene that are still there and actively working.
Are you investigating any sort of connection with the earlier shooting of the day at 27th and Whitney?
We are, at this time, we don't know if that's connected, but that is something that we are looking at.
Children's Mercy says that they want parents to contact them if they don't know where their children are. Do you know that there may be, are there kids there who
I can tell you we have detectives at all of the local hospitals that are investigating, like I said earlier, trying to connect our victims to their loved ones. Should that be the case and it's a child, someone can either contact police or if that is what Children's Mercy is requesting, of course they can contact them as well.
Is there anything you can say about motive?
Right now we do not have a motive, but we are asking those who may potentially have any kind of information, a witness or video, to contact police. That's one of that, what I talked about, that phone number that we're setting up that's going to be centralized for victims, witnesses, and potential video evidence.
Any age range on the person?
I do not have that yet.
Learned of a second gunshot victim who died from a family. Has that developed?
I have not been able to confirm another death.
You mentioned that there were some victims taken to Children's Mercy Hospital. I understood from staff at Children's Mercy Hospital that they received, they have 9 shooting victims, and it's possible that one of them was an adult. Do you know how many children were shot, if it was 8 or 9? And when we're talking children, are we talking about little ones or 17-year-olds? Do you know, Chief?
Children's accepts patients up to 17. Children's accepts patients up to 17 years old, and but we do not have that information currently on the exact ages of the patients that were transported. Yeah, I mean, Children's confirming we did transport to Children's Mercy, but we do not have the ages of those patients.
Mayor, how scared? You had over 800 officers deployed to work this parade, to work outside of Union Station, and still in a matter of moments, 22 people were shot.
I mean, that's what happens with guns. I won't get in a big debate right now. I think we're still doing an investigation, but I mean, what you saw happen was why people talk about guns a lot. We had over 800 officers there, staffed, situated all around Union Station today. We had security in any number of places, eyes on top of buildings and beyond. And there still is a risk to people. And I think that's something that all of us who are parents, who are just regular people living each day, have to decide what we wish to do about it. Parades, rallies, schools, movies, it seems like almost nothing is safe. And we had hundreds of law enforcement there working hard today. And I do want to echo what the chief said. We were running towards danger, but in a matter of seconds, someone who wants to disrupt anything, someone who wants to create any type of situation, or someone who is very simply reckless, can change not just one life or 2 lives, but almost 24. And that to me is absolutely devastating, and it makes me feel vastly more concerned as a parent just in the world today thinking about that.
Can you tell us more about how you were able to detain those 2?
I'll get you in just a second.
Clearly caused so much harm.
What was the question?
Can you tell us more about how you were able to take those 2 suspects into custody?
Uniformed officers were on scene. I don't have all the information of exactly what they witnessed, but there was a pursuit, apprehension, slight injuries by our officers taking someone into custody. But as far as you're directly answering your question, I don't have that information right now.
You have 2 gunmen.
We were talking about weapons earlier. Can you tell me how many and what types of weapons?
I don't have the exact on the weapons, but we have recovered firearms. I don't have a number for you or a caliber. We have recovered firearms, at least 1.
Okay.
You have 2 gunmen in custody. Do you believe there are any others still unaccounted for?
We have 3 people that we have detained, and that is what we are asking for, is if anyone has any information, is a witness or has any kind of video that may provide us if there is anybody else that was involved in this.
Does it help get our risk to the community at this point?
No, at this time, the scene has been cleared. It's being held, and when I say cleared, I say the scene has been made safe, and it's been cleared.
The aid stations, so they were able to render aid very quickly to the patients that were injured on the scene. So Mark Steele is our Executive Chief Clinical Officer. He can answer any questions, talk about the condition of the patients that we saw and what's going on there. So Dr. Steele?
Yes, so as Charlie said, we had actually had a total of 12 patients, 8 that were gunshot victims. Otherwise, the other 4 had other sorts of problems. And 2 of the people who were shot are in critical condition. The others are all in stable condition.
just want to make sure I heard the numbers correctly. So 8 gunshot victims or
8 gunshot victims in total who came
Of
here.
those 8 gunshot victims, are they over the age of 18?
I don't know their exact ages.
Can you tell us anything about them?
I mean, all I can tell you is that 6 are stable and the other 2 are in critical condition.
we saw some of your staff running into the hospital here, and we also saw some of your staff who were stationed here waiting to accept people that coming in here. What type of protocol do you train for and then had to activate?
Yeah, now, as a level 1 trauma center, we train for this kind of thing. We obviously hope that it never happens, but we were actually very well prepared. We had enough notice that we were going to get some patients. We didn't know exactly how many. Fortunately, being during the day, we had a lot of professionals, a lot of physicians on here present. And so very quickly, we discontinued starting any people early to come here to help out additional emergency physicians, and some other surgeons came from home. Sorry, I can't hear you.
We have reports from the family that Elisa Galvan Lopez, died recently in the hospital. Are you able to confirm that?
We didn't have anyone die at the hospital here.
What are your takeaways from today? Obviously, a wonderful day here that has turned into a tragedy.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously it's a big tragedy, such a big celebration, everybody having a lot of fun, and it's wrapping up and people are going to head home, and all of a sudden this happens. So, and as Charlie said, it's very traumatic. It's traumatic for anybody who was there in the area, not only our staff, but all the people who were around and saw this. And so it's really very unfortunate.
One more question. When you say critical condition, can you explain that to our viewers, give them the scope of what that means?
Well, that means they're very, very sick, and certainly we hope that they're going to survive, but when somebody's in critical condition, certainly things could turn south, but we hope that doesn't happen with these 2 individuals.
Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you.